camera on?
The camera's on. Like, you're live on YouTube and Facebook. I gotta figure it out.
Hey guys! Sorry, our screen is broken, so Justin is working to figure what's going on there. So for a minute, we're just going to be flying blind. And you know, it's weird when you can't see yourself. It doesn't feel like it's real. But
we can't see us. We don't think you can see us.
Exactly. We're very conceited. Dawn says Liz must be back. They're starting on time. That's right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our lovely, rainy, spring-like Friday.
It is, but the rain's almost over.
That's right. And then it's going to be a sunny, beautiful weekend, yeah?
Yep.
That's what I hope, because I have to drive to Kansas City tomorrow. So I would like it to be sunny and beautiful and not rainy and gross.
I think it is supposed to be nice for quite a few days.
Oh, good. Well,
and next week it's supposed to get cold again.
Stop it. I don't like that. I just want to live somewhere perfectly temperate all of the time. But not too rainy, so it's not too cloudy, because I still need my sunshine.
Where could this be?
I know. What?
Where is the perfect place, you guys?
Is New Zealand all sorts of warm and fuzzy?
No, it's kind of cool there, I think.
Oh.
A big part of the time.
But it's surrounded by ocean, so it should be...
But it's also, it has some kind of, not nasty weather, but just kind of
weird.
Cool. I don't know. I've never been there.
Well, you should go. Anyways, alrighty. Well, Denny finished tooling up his bees and flowers. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right here.
Right here.
YouTube is live. Yeah, YouTube and Facebook can see.
But Twitch isn't?
Twitch is where I'm struggling.
Is that my videos on Twitch?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it. He does something weird here.
Tony, are you out there?
I should have talked to him about this. Sorry.
You could call him.
But is he not doing...
He was answering me a minute ago on Teams, so give him a holler. Sorry, I know there's no video on Twitch, guys. We're sorry. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Alrighty.
We're going for it.
Yeah. So we're all tooled. Apparently you guys can see that. I don't know what you're looking at. Are we up on the top, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So this is what we've got. Look how beautiful it is. I'm sure it's lovely. Hopefully you guys...
Turned out okay.
Yeah. I think it's all sorts of fun. Anybody out there try to tool some bees between Wednesday and today? No? Anybody? No. You can tell me later. Alrighty, Denny.
We're going to start painting these critters.
Alrighty. We've got an array of dice here. We've got some Angelus. Hey, there we are. We've got some Angelus. We've got some of this. We could probably zoom in a little bit. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. I think there's a little... It's this one, right?
Yep.
Whee!
There you go.
Perfect. Yeah. There we are. There we are. Alrighty. Now we know what's going on.
Let's start off with some black paint.
Okay.
I've got paint and I've got dye.
You sure do. And you've got dye reducer.
And I have dye reducer. Yes,
and we have pipettes and we have brushes and we have tiny cups. You don't even have to cut down your own cups.
You know what? This is something we need to have here.
Is it?
Springfield Leather Company. Because other than that, you have to go out and rob a convenience store or something.
Of their condiment
containers.
Did you ask Kevin to pick those up at Culver's for you?
No, I picked them up myself at Arby's, I believe.
I wonder if Sam sells them. You know how like Sam's has that kind of section where they have, you know, if you're a food truck and you need kind of semi-bulk food supplies.
Semi-bulk.
Well, I'm assuming that if you're an actual if you're a real boy, then there's services for that. But I don't know what they are.
Okay, I'm going to start off with some black paint, and I'm going to start with the butterfly right in the middle. Because if I started out here and then went to the middle, I'd get paint all over myself.
That is true.
And all over the project.
So we're going to, we're going to start in the middle and work our way out.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm going to try and mimic this one that I'd done the other day.
gonna try to do this again. That kind of works. Dwayne over on Twitch. We have all sorts of videos, in fact, on how to tool like this. Denny just did a many part series in his beginner's class and then his advanced tooling class that goes over all of the things that he teaches people when they come here in person to take his class. You can sit down and you can tool with Denny. The video tells you what tools you need to get, and then he kind of goes over all sorts of flowers and just the elements of Sheridan style carving, which is what Denny does.
Yeah, and the use of these tools.
That's right.
That's the main thing, you guys, is learn how to use your tools.
Milk of magnesia bottles come in handy dandy. Cup on the top that are perfect for paints and dyes.
All right.
Yeah. So just check out the rest. You can go to our YouTube page. We have been doing live videos twice a week on a almost nonstop basis for about, well, since like July or August of 2020, I think. I feel like that was about right when the world unended and people started coming back. Unended. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
Came back to life.
So, and then before that, we did also have sporadic videos, but those have all been our live videos. Let's see here. It's the balance for how amazing the live sale went yesterday. Yep, Cynthia. Twitch didn't work today because it worked so well yesterday.
Did it work good for you yesterday?
Oh, it was awesome. It was quick and lively, and people could almost respond in real time to our jokes, so that was nice. Do you dip case or spray at first?
What's that?
Do you dip case or spray at first?
I'm not quite understanding that question.
Are you talking about at this point? So Denny oiled his leather this morning, right?
Yes,
Or did you
I
oil
gave
it yesterday?
light. No, I oiled it this morning.
Okay.
They had a previous question about respraying during the tooling process.
Oh, okay. Let's hear.
I think it might be that.
Okay. I have a question from the tooling portion of the previous video. Didn't re-wet during the entire time we saw him tooling. Why was he able to do that for an hour plus without respraying?
Because I got it to... A lot of people try to tool their leather when it's too wet. And actually, when it's on the verge of coming back to its original color is the perfect time to tool. So
he does not dip case. He doesn't do that, and then he doesn't like put it in the fridge. He just wets it to the amount that he wants it wet. And then sometimes, depending on the elements that he's tooling, he will have to go through and re-wet it. But
yeah,
like as Denny, we talked about in a lot of the tooling videos that we've done over the past few months, as the leather dries, that's usually about the time that you want it to be at these different stages for tooling. Because you're backgrounding, you want it to be drier than when you were carving the leather. Because you don't want it to be mushy. You don't want the beveling to be as wet as when you're carving. So there's different elements that you'll get to as the leather dries. And depending on how big of a piece you're working with, you may not have to re-wet it so often. I mean, I guess, Denny, when you're tooling a large piece that does require re-wetting, do you have, like, is there about this amount of time goes by?
Yeah, it just depends on the humidity in the room where you are.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the piece of leather, how wet you got it to begin with. To tell you the truth, what I do, they call quick casing, which is I just spritz the leather. You can do the same thing with a sponge in water, but you just add moisture to the surface. You can case it, and I have cased the leather, by actually submerging it and saturating the leather, but you do need to let it dry back out to the right consistency. That's why I don't like to fully case a piece of
Because
leather.
it takes time.
But like this piece of leather, if I was tooling on it and I was going to go to lunch, say, I would spritz it again, just give it a light coat of water. Then I would either turn it upside down on my tooling surface or cover it with a piece of plastic, a plastic bag or something
Okay.
to keep the moisture in it. You know, if I was tooling and it was got too dry, I would spritz it again, but then I would let it set for a few minutes and let it temper.
Yeah. Kind of let that moisture go all the way through
Yeah.
and even itself out.
Yeah. When it gets real dull and mushy looking, don't do anything to it then. That's the wrong time.
Yeah, your leather can definitely be too wet. And then you just don't get the good crisp lines.
Yeah, it just
You're not
really-
molding. You're not molding the leather.
yeah. What you do, you're just doing it in mush. You might as well be working on oatmeal. You know?
Oatmeal.
Okay, that brought up another subject, didn't it? No, the thing, moisture content is something you've just got to learn to experience and feel, by doing it over and over. But there are some people that just will not refrain from wetting their leather too much. I have students that say, "Well, I love it when it's this wet," and it is really easy to make an impression when it's that wet because the leather is so soft, but it doesn't look well.
Ooh, I have a question right now. Since you're coloring, why are you using paint instead of dye?
Because I want this to be, I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question.
It just
I
kind of
don't know.
occurred
That's
to
what
me.
I used on this original.
Ooh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I used paint on it, and it looked pretty good. I used dye on the orange part of the wings, which is what I'll do.
Well, so I was thinking because dye runs, right? When you put it
Yeah.
on, it kind of runs. So paint is a little bit
More forgiving.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere.
That's probably why I did it. But I'm gonna do the butter or the bees all have black on them, so I'm gonna do them next while this dries.
Gotcha.
That's the thing when you're doing a project like this with a lot of different features, you've got to be careful not to go over something that's still wet with a different color because you don't get good results that way.
And we're just using Angelus paint.
Yes.
Just our cute little 1 ounce Angelus paint bottles. Comes in like 130 different colors. This Dwayne said that I'm assuming he went through all of the coasters and they turned out really good.
Well, good.
Finished your series there. So that's awesome. So now choose a design of your choice and then keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to get a little more paint in this bottle cap. I've got all the black on the butterfly that I think I need. Now let's go do some bees. Let's look how I did those. Painted their little head and their legs. Here and there on their little body.
Did you find yourself some bee pictures?
Uh,
Or did you just wing it?
I found some bee pictures. I forget what I found. That worked out. Sometimes I scare myself, you guys. Here's his little black legs.
Ooh.
He moved it right as I
You're good. You can keep going.
I'll move the camera.
We do have a 3-inch hexagon, and is it a 3-inch or maybe it's a larger? We do have like a coaster sized hexagon, I believe.
I moved it again.
Yep.
Well, I am sorry.
It's all right.
Really, the top isn't terrible.
Yeah, we'll leave it at the top. Oh, you're good.
You're just going all over the place, Denny.
Yeah, well, I have to move it to
You're just
to do what I do here.
we don't want to smudge our paint.
You gotta do what you gotta do to make the project look good.
Don says if you make a mistake with paint, you can wipe it off, or at least probably most of it. If it's dye, it's all over. I still don't know if I'd really want to have to wipe off black paint from anything.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
That's with all these little impressions, and it doesn't wipe as well as you would think. One bee's got his black on.
Now for the next bee.
Oh, someone said for the video suggestion, a dress belt wasn't nowhere.
Oh. We've done so. Typically, instead of doing a filler, we will take a heavier piece of leather and we'll bell knife the edges down or skive the edges, which gives you kind of the same 3-dimensional effect without having to attempt to line up like 3 pieces of leather and get your center
On what?
on a dress belt that has like the kind of bubbly look in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you are struggling with making a dress belt, you have somebody that wants one or you're just working on it, I would suggest instead of attempting to do a 3-piece belt to just do a lined single piece with a nice, heavy top layer, like 8 to 9 that you can skive down to a nice like 3 ounce on the edge. And that will give you your 3-dimensional effect without having to do another piece of leather.
Michael asked me, what do you call a skeleton wearing a fedora? Michael C.
A skeleton wearing a fedora. I feel like that's something to do with like Day of the Dead things, maybe. But I don't know a lot about those things.
He is on Facebook, so he's going to be a little further.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to take us
Skeleton wearing a fedora. I got no idea, Michael. Tell me. Crystal says you're a real artist.
Yeah. She got to be my publicist.
Let's hear Ron.
Is Chevy doing video with us?
Oh, next week. So for those of you out there that have always wanted to do some shoemaking, if you've seen Nick on our Discord or Chevy Guy, wherever he can be found, he uses those sneaker kits and puts together some really lovely looking pairs of shoes. So next week we will have him as our guest on. We will be streaming with him and he will be whipping up some sneakers for good old Tony, who's on the road today.
The answer to Michael's joke was Indiana Bones.
Indiana Bones. Skeleton with a fedora. Maybe if you said a fedora and a whip, I could have gotten that. But maybe that was too.
What was the answer?
Indiana Bones. Got to make sure you're not putting your hand on some paint.
That's right.
Denny, what are your tips when it comes to painting leather or using paint on leather?
Uh, Paint is definitely just a top coat. Uh, so you don't want to overdo it. If you want to show more features, you need to thin your paint down
Okay.
with water. If it's an acrylic water-based type paint like this, you can thin it down. But then it will take more coats. But then you're building up
To,
a bunch of surface area, you know.
Mhm.
So just be as careful as you can. Use a good brush, you know, with a nice fine tip on it, and take your time. And
People always ask me, like, what finish do I put over my paint?
uh, same finish you would put on over anything. Make sure your paint's dry before you put a finish on it. This after everything's dry, and you won't be able to see it today, but I'm gonna antique it also, because the antique will kind of blend everything. It'll make a lot of your spots that you don't feel like you've gotten painted real well. It'll kind of disguise that and mask it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The antique is what makes everything come together.
Yeah. But there are no tricks. I mean, it's just be careful and paint that son of a gun, whatever it is. That's what I'm doing. I don't have any tricks. I'm definitely not a Bob Ross in the paint department.
Let's see here, Jackie. I have talked with Don a couple times this year so far, and he has a pretty busy schedule. So we haven't made any definite plans. He knows that he's welcome if something were to open up in his schedule to reach out to come do a class, but we have not made any plans to do so, nor has there really been anything concrete. We talked a little. He's got saddles to build. He's a busy man. He's got kids at home and stuff to do. And so it's just, well, he knows that he's welcome. And when we can figure it out, we'll get there. We do have Ed LeBar coming, though, in the end of April. So the end of April, we'll have Ed LeBar here. He will be at Springfield Leather for a full week. We will be doing 3 separate classes, 1 2-day beginner class, and then 2 advanced classes that week that he will be here. It'll be the 17th through the 20th. We'll have a class on Monday and Tuesday will be our beginner's class. It's a 2-day class. And then Wednesday and Thursday will each be a separate individual advanced class. You can find that information. Oh gosh, we sent it out in our newsletter this weekend. So if you're signed up for the newsletter, it went out in the newsletter over the weekend. But if you want to call, the people in the office can send you the sign-up sheets with the information. And I believe if you're local, you can come in and we have a flyer. Let's see here. Crystal says she's currently working on a tooled scenery tack set. Denny, any tips on blending? I'm making some wild grass that looks yellow and brown with pine trees and mountains in the back.
It's a lot easier to. I hope you're talking about like fading from one color to another. It's a lot easier to do that with dye than it is with paint.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, anyway, in my experience. You've got to dye one color and then just go to it with the next color. Just go lightly to it and don't have a lot of dye on your brush. When you, it's sort of like, I don't know. All I can do is relate this to horses, but there's a color of a horse called a roan.
Okay.
Which is a little bit like this cowhide. It's one color here, but it gradually fades to another color. And a roan horse does the same thing. There's red roans and gray roans and blue roans, and they
all the roans.
Yeah, all those roan colors, and they all just kind of fade together. But the only way to do that is just to have one color and then a little bit of another color on your brush, and just kind of ease into it. But like I say, it's a lot easier to do it with dye than it is with paint.
Absolutely.
So just experiment. That's the only way to figure out how to do it.
It's the spearmint station.
Yeah.
let's see here. So Leathermaster KC is asking about reverse antiquing. If you're tooling on black leather or you're making your project black, have you done much kind of antiquing with white or a light color antique?
No. Actually, I've done black and a natural color together, but you dye the black, and then of course you've got to use a resist over your leather when you do your antique.
Mm-hmm.
But you can dye whatever black areas you want, and then resist the whole thing. And go over it with an antique of your choice. Generally, black antique goes with a black dye.
I think I have seen some people mix the neutral antique with paint.
Right.
And so you can spearmint with the neutral Phoebe's antique paste and some paint colors to get a contrast. So if you are working with completely black leather and you want to do a white, you're going to have to, I don't know the ratios off the top of my head, but I have seen the guys in R&D have kind of played around with it a little bit. And you can do that. Or I know Gilder's Paste. I don't know how much Gilder's Paste that we have, but we used to have a product called Gilder's Paste that I'm sure you can still buy online, either on Etsy or possibly even on Amazon. And it's usually like a metallic paste that you can also use to antique, and that would show up pretty well on a black.
The thing is with black, if you've got the whole piece of leather already black, the only thing you can do is put a surface coat of paint over that, because you cannot lighten up that black.
Right. Yeah. Dawn, Denny has actually been switching his resist in the last month or so. He went from just using pretty much Master's Quick Shine for every part of finishing that he would need to the RTC Sheridan Resist. So once this is dry, that's what he brought in today.
Yeah.
And that's what he'll put on it. But once again, especially with the paint, you want to make sure that paint is completely dry before you wipe on any resist.
I've come to the conclusion that I think the problem that I was having was probably the batch of Master's Quick Shine that I was using was defective.
Well, they did have an issue with a minute.
Yeah, I had never had that problem with Master's Quick Shine before, and all of a sudden it just started happening to me about every time that I did it. So that's why I switched. I do like the RTC Resist, though. But I still use the Master's Quick Shine as a top coat.
Yes, yeah. So Alvin was like, how do you pull the brush over the project without paint dripping on it? It's because he doesn't have a lot of paint on his brush. He literally shakes up the bottle of paint and he takes the cap off, and this is what he's using as his palette of black.
Yeah.
So he puts a little bit on there. It is not dripping. He doesn't, I mean, look how tiny this brush is, guys. This is what he's using. Yeah. It's very small. Yeah. So.
And the thing is, if you get your paint real thin, it's going to want to drip. Mm-hmm. So get yourself a paper towel or something like this, and kind of blot your brush off a little bit. Don't load it so heavy.
Yeah.
But
alrighty, all our bees are black.
Yeah, all our bees are black. Didn't they write a song about that? The mamas and the papas. All our bees are black.
Oh.
Sky is gray.
Yeah. Lives on, all's well.
All right. Now let's go back to our butterfly. Let's paint our butterfly. Oh, no, let's dye our butterfly wings. If I have orange dye, do I?
You have burgundy and light rose and yellow. Should I get you orange?
I've got orange.
It's in the holder.
Because I was getting ready for that.
You're going to use it. Denny's got his Kaizen foam die holder over here.
Yeah, I'm experienced.
Was there a pattern for this? It's in our video on Wednesday. So R6 leather and more joy. Joy, if you go back to our video from Wednesday, we do have the, Tony just scanned in Denny's pattern for this. So you can take a look. It'll give you the flowers and the bees. It's permanent paint.
Permanent paint. Talking about your tattoo.
Yeah, it doesn't come off.
All right, let's see what we can do with orange.
Jackie, that's called all the paper so that Denny doesn't spill things on our cowhide rug.
Denny has a bad habit of doing that. See, since I've already painted this black, I don't have to be quite as careful with my orange because the orange is definitely not going to cover up the black.
That's right. It'll only get darker.
I'm going to give this a good heavy coat the first time. That way maybe I won't have to go back over it.
We're doing both, Golson. We just painted all of our little black sections, so anything that you see here has been painted. And then right now Denny is dyeing his butterfly wings with orange Phoebene's dye.
Yeah, because there are some nice fluted lines on this butterfly, and if I paint it, I'm afraid it will fill in a lot of that.
We don't want to fill it in.
Yeah. Plus, we're just experimenting.
Michael wants to know if you can send him a hard copy on his next order. Michael Seeger of the pattern.
Yes, Michael. I wonder if your order's still over in Gathering or if we shipped it. I took it over there yesterday, but maybe I could print it out and go get it. Oh. Michael, can you send me an email so that in the next 30 minutes I will remember that? Sometimes I'm a goldfish. Would love to see him do an owl sometime. Me too.
An owl?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my wife would love that too.
Thanks.
That's her spirit animal.
Is it?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. She's a little hoot owl.
Yep. Denny, how often do you draw designs by hand?
Always.
Every time.
Yep.
But he's also been doing it forever.
Yeah, but that's the only way to figure out how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
No one can teach you. You have to learn.
You have to just do.
Yeah.
Until you're happy.
That's right.
And now Denny, so he has tap-off patterns that he will, once he has like a flower shape that he likes, right? He's going to make a tap-off pattern so that the flower part is easy. And then he'll place it wherever he wants his flowers and his design. And then he will draw all the elements around it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like he has his methods of getting to where he's going to want to go. But they're all ones that, over the years he's stolen and used.
Well, I can't say I've stolen all of them. But everybody steals everything.
That's right.
I mean, someone who draws a flower from memory.
They saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that stealing?
No, I don't think so. No. I do like to give him a hard time about that, though. But yeah, so he's got this whole little box of cute little flowers. And then they're, thick. If you're not familiar, we have a video on making your own tap-off. So making whatever elements you want, if this is something that you use all the time. And so then he'll, just like this, I gave him the outline. I went in Illustrator and I made hexagons on hexagons in Hexagons. And then I I gave it to him. And so what Denny did is he's like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And I brought him some butterfly, images that I had found on the internet and different things. He found the butterfly, or not the butterfly, but the
silhouette.
Yeah.
Image? Yeah.
Yep. And then you're like, okay. And then you just start placing and going.
Yeah, but as far as flower patterns, floral patterns in general, they're all circular around the flower, filling in space. That's all you do. Okay, are we ready to finish our bees?
I think so. Do they look pretty? They should be pretty dry.
Yeah, I think they're ready for yellow.
Yeah, I like owls too. This is just the Angelus yellow paint.
Yeah,
I know that
just
there's probably a
plain.
million yellows in the Angelus paint collection. This is just the regular one.
Yeah, plain old yellow.
Oh, Denny, what is your favorite design to tool?
Oh, I love a regular Western floral.
You don't say.
A Sheridan type floral. Yeah, that's definitely my favorite. But as far as the flowers that I use and the different figures that I use, that changes. I go in spurts. I'll do one that I really like, and I'll do it till I'm sick of it. Then I'll start on something else. But
You did some pretty cute. We are working right now on getting some dies made for bag toppers. So if you guys have seen some of those Southwest design bags that have like the woven panels on them, or like the fabric bags, whatever fabric you want to use, and then they have the leather yolks that go across the top, which is, I don't know if Andy and Ryan told you, they were trying to figure out what to call these cutting dies when they were getting them made. And I was like, well, that's the biggest stretch ever, Luna. I was like, it looks like a yoke on a chap to me. Those things. It's just and sure enough, I typed in leather bag yolks and I got all sorts of pictures of leather toppers that had been tooled.
Really?
And I was like, I got it. Found the right word. So we're getting 2 different widths of size made. And you did the cutest were they little daisies?
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Cutest little daisy tooling patterns on those yolks. So.
And those flowers are something I just made up.
They're cute little spiky leaves.
I remember when my wife started first looking at the flowers that I did, she said, "Those aren't real flowers. All flowers have an odd number of petals." Because I had like a 6-petal flower or a 4-petal flower. I said, "They do not," and I didn't know. But pretty soon we started looking, and shoot, there's lots of even-numbered petal flowers. So it doesn't matter. Just come up with something.
Did you say hot, Mary June?
Yeah.
Steve, we're not going to talk to Denny about roses.
Yeah, roses and me don't get along.
Have you ever tried to do any like bell-shaped flowers? Like I don't know, almost like like the ones that kind of hang and.
Oh yeah, like bluebells or something. No, but that's an idea.
That could
I
be fun.
try that. Yeah.
I should just go find you. Well, you have to work on. We gave you all those cool feather patterns, the mirrored. From the fun little AI thingy that Chris likes to do.
Yeah. Those are some complicated deals, but I am going to try some.
Do you have a favorite paintbrush, Denny?
Yeah, I'm using it. This is just an old brush.
American Painter.
4350.
It's a liner brush.
If I was...
There's a lot of good brushes out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure this wasn't an expensive brush, or I wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
You can find a good portable brush that isn't any different than a high-end brush.
Can you guys cut? Yeah, we dyes are the metal things, and DIES are the metals. DYESs are the liquids. So that's how it works. We don't make cutting dies, but we use them, and we can use yours. So if you don't have a clicker press, but you have something that you have either a die for, or it's something that you make a lot that you are like, I could use the free time from not hand cutting all of these parts. Springfield Leather, could you cut parts for me? We house a whole bunch of other people's custom cutting dies. You call us, you order it, we'll pull out your die, we'll cut it for you, we'll send it to you. We'll make fancy little item numbers for whatever part it is that we cut for you out of whatever leather it is that you want us to cut. You give our office a call, or you send myself or Jacob or whoever an email, say I need 50, 100, 500 of my parts, whatever that it is that you order, and we cut them. That is a service that we offer. We do not make the cutting dies here. We contract with Texas Custom Dies mostly for our cutting die needs. Yeah, hand cutting. I mean, if all that you make is unique one-off items, then, there's not a lot that somebody can help you with. But if you make a lot of the same thing and, you can justify the cost of the cutting die, which it's really like, unless your cutting die is super complicated or your parts are really complicated or, you've got 50 million parts, cutting dies can cut down on a lot of production time. And then also, you no longer have to necessarily deal with the leftover leather if that's not something that you enjoy dealing with. So if that's something that you're looking for, give us a holler and we can help you out.
Yeah, it will ease a lot of your pain.
Yeah.
If you despise cutting leather. I've about got the bees done.
Look at you go. What do y'all do with the stuff you make at home? I find that I end up giving it to people. I mean, you could try to sell it. Or if you're just getting started and...
So when I got started, like when I was doing leathercraft and everything, I gave away so much stuff.
Yeah.
Because
was that you make something and you're like, all right, that was cool. Like, I don't need to hoard it. So yeah, just find a friend or donate it somewhere, your local community. Probably none of your friends are going to be upset about handmade leather things.
Yeah.
From their good friend, Dan Shipman. They probably love some of your craft.
Most people, when they start doing leathercraft, make a few things and their friends see it, their friends want one of something else. Or two, whatever you've got.
Right.
You develop a lot of friends when you do leathercraft.
are those bees going to stay that vibrant? Or are they going to lose vibrancy?
When I antique it, yes, that will tone them down considerably.
Yeah. So it's going to fill in all those, because you use that hair blade tool.
Yeah.
So they all have quite a bit of texture going on here. So we've got all sorts of little texture. It's hard to see, but once you antique it, all that texture is going to soak up your antique and tone them down a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to our butterfly.
People have different reasons for being vegan. Maybe they just don't like to eat meat. There was this girl that used to work here. She's one of my very best friends. She loved selling leather. She didn't have any problem with it. She just didn't like to eat meat. It just didn't sit well with her. Like literally her intestines didn't enjoy it. So, yeah. And also up until the point that there's not a meat industry, there's going to be leather, so you might as well use it instead of letting it go to waste. That's where I land. Like, it's sometime in the future, if like meat production falls significantly, like we're never butchering animals for their hides. That's not happening.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anywhere. Nobody, I mean, unless it's like illegal fur trade or whatever, for whatever that is. Most animals are not being butchered for their hides. That is not the primary. That is a secondary industry. So let's see here. Denny, where in Grand Junction did you do your saddle stuff?
I lived.
Or did you do saddle stuff when you were in
Yes,
Grand?
that's where I started.
Okay.
My shop was called Diamond Saddle Shop, Diamond Saddle Company. I originally started, I forget what area it was, but I worked for a fella. His name was Bob McCrae, and he was Diamond Stock Saddle Company, right? And I worked for him for about 2 years, and he retired, and I bought his shop from him. And I called my shop Diamond Saddle Company as opposed to Diamond Stock Saddle Company.
Mm-hmm.
But and my shop was right down on. It's been 30 years since I was there, and I don't even remember It was the main drag through town, and I was out on the east end of town on that main street. But I had my shop there for about 3 or 4 years, and then I moved out here.
They make a cutting die to cut out pieces the size of settlers of Catan board pieces. That's my point.
Oh, probably.
I've seen some really small ones, so I'm sure.
Yeah. Once the die kind of gets below like a 2-inch thing, like it's going to start going up in price the more complicated it gets because it's hard to make tiny, complicated dies. But if you're just making hexagons because that's what Catan is. So we might even we have a hexagon. I'm not 100% sure exactly what the size is, but frankly, it might be a little bit of a large board, but you could totally use whatever size hexagon you want and make a Catan board. Ron says he's a secondhand vegetarian. Cows eat grass. I eat cows. That's right.
Cows are vegans. Painting these not Columbine, dogwoods white because most dogwoods are white. They do have pink ones though.
They do.
But I'm gonna try and fade a little bit of red around these seeds when I get done. I don't know if we'll have time today.
Yeah, we've taken about 50 minutes just doing bees and butterflies.
Oh, 15 minutes?
50.
Oh, 50, yeah.
Well, honestly, on Wednesday, Nick, I don't want to take away from what you're doing, but Denny could totally be in here painting with us and just coloring. We could have him in the corner while you build shoes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Be in the corner. Yeah.
Put Denny in the corner. Golson, I'm not gonna lie, you are missing a whole other conversation. Each platform totally has its own thing going on and does its own thing. You can do both. You can Twitch and YouTube at the same time, I suppose, if you have enough room in your life for that. But
Yeah, we stream on 3 platforms.
yeah,
So
or go to Facebook. There's the third one.
There's 3 different comment sections happening. SLC has a hex cutter die for sale now? Question mark.
No, not a die, but we cut the part. Like, we have the die. We're not selling.
Oh.
We don't sell dies.
They
That's
followed up with, or do they sell?
yeah. We sell the part. Here, hold on. I can look it up. Thanks, Steve. A 3x3. That's what it is. So I think that's probably a little big for Catan. I feel like Catan tiles are exactly this size. Now that I'm thinking about it. Or very similar to that.
How much to buy X cut pieces of leather?
25 pack is $15.50. 100 pack is $57.
Poor Denny's gonna have to sit through my incoherent rambling. Better give that man a bonus for the day. That's Chevy guy.
Dean wants to know if we're gonna start talking coffins soon with all this dye talk. But we haven't talked about the coffins in a while.
Not for a while.
Anybody else made? I know. I don't remember quite who it was now that made the coffin backpacks, but those were pretty cool. And
That leather. It was either Tony, like the. His name's there.
I thought it was a girl.
And then there's Leather Hub. I think.
No, it was one of our customers. She made a couple backpacks
I know
that were like little mini coffin backpacks that were really adorable. If you're out there or you know who it was that made the little mini coffin backpacks, we did on live shopping. I think we showed them off because they were just so stinking cute. But have you antiqued over the paint? Wayne, we have not as of yet, but we will.
Yes.
So that will happen.
After all the paint and dye is dry, then I'll go over it with a resist. And since I've painted and dyed,
I might use Master's Quick Shine this time, so I don't have to
Worry about.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Tom, he asked about trading cards. We have had a significant amount of people send in trading cards. 1, 2, 3. Like, I feel like it's a decent amount of people that have sent in trading cards. Maybe not quite 24, but we've definitely had several handfuls of people. You could be among them. Are you among them?
talked to
Tom Tunes.
Talked to Joe Slayton yesterday,
Oh, yeah?
And he's going to send us a trading card.
Nice.
Of course, he wants one in return.
Of
Imagine
course.
that.
I did that one time without a resist, and I thought it turned out great. With the paint, Denny, with the dye. Well, okay, so I mean, you need to resist your leather if you're not wanting the antique to stain all of the leather. So if you're wanting that nice, contrast situation between the natural and the antiqued, then you need to put a resist on. But if you don't mind if the paint is a resist because it is acrylic.
Correct.
So if you are painting, a lot of people ask me, do I have to put a finish over paint? And the answer is no. You don't have to put a finish over paint. Like, if that's all that you've done, it is its own finish because it's acrylic. But if you have also dyed and antiqued, then yes, you need to put a finish over everything. Or, I mean, if you are working with natural veg, you need to finish it so that it doesn't just, absorb water all the time and create water. So you need to seal the surface.
Yeah, it just depends on the project you're working on, what it's going to be used for.
Mm-hmm. Those little flowers. I like the white.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't know this, we're in Missouri, and our state flower, or our state tree, is the dogwood tree.
Mm-hmm.
And we have so many of them everywhere. And while Justin hates them, they are beautiful.
They are beautiful. They don't like my allergy.
This one shouldn't affect your allergy,
Oh,
Justin.
good.
Shouldn't. Depends on how
Like
good
I
I
say,
get it painted,
When we
I
bought our
guess.
house, we made sure, like,
Bye,
on
Ron.
the street, there was very few dogwoods.
You like go around and count the dogwoods.
Yeah.
If you would thin the white paint and do 2 or 3 coats, and you would lose all that, or maybe just, are you asking Ron if you would lose, or Dawn, if you would lose all of that detail? That was so good.
The thinner the paint is, the less detail you would lose. You're right. As far as the number of coats go, it's if you keep building it up, you're going to be
get
right
back to
back
this.
to where you were.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to let that dry. Now let's dye these flowers.
All
What
right.
color should I dye this? Your choice.
Oh no. What is it?
It's one of those 4-petal deals.
Well, we have light rose and a yellow. I feel like those are the 2 colors that you brought in. I guess you also did a burgundy. Is that for?
Yeah, burgundy,
Should we?
and yellow, and orange. I got the orange.
Oh, we could. Flowers are orange. I feel like. Why don't we do these in the rose and these in the orange?
Okay,
You want to do that?
I got the orange here, so
Okay.
I'll just continue with that.
What colors will your honeycombs be? Oh,
They will be whatever color the antiquing turns them.
right. They're just.
I wasn't
He's going to
planning
stay
on
natural. So these
Yeah.
these panels will stay natural, and then everything will just get antiqued. Although I suppose you could do like a. Just kidding. No, you can't do anything. You guys didn't see that mean mug I just got.
This is the orange one or
Yeah.
this one? This one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sure.
sure.
You could if you had like an umber color or kind of a yellow. Although at some point the leather may not work well with kind of that neutral of a color to get it to like an actual honeycomb color. Because
Yeah,
you don't need something this yellow. You need kind of an orangey yellow or a brown yellow, like a honey,
Yeah,
an amber color.
yeah. But that's so close to the color of the natural leather anyway that
Mhm.
we're going to get that it wouldn't really contrast very much.
I was gonna say you could use the yellow dye just like we did on this flower.
Mhm.
Like you could, if you wanted to, you could do it like this. So this is our roper wallet back that we framed from the advanced class, and these are dyed with yellow, which I feel like is actually pretty close to a honeycomb tone, but it's so similar to the. I mean, it stands out, but it is very similar to just the natural color of the leather. But you could do that. I could do that for you.
You could.
I could do that. Denny asked me if there was anything that I would like to do today, and I said I don't want to mess up.
So you're letting me mess it up, huh?
Exactly. The dogwood is a tree and a flower. What movie did we learn that from? I don't know.
I don't know either.
A National Geographic movie? I don't know, Golson. Tell me. Can you cut swivel lines in over the paint?
No. After you start putting a finish on leather, it's
I say no. You not with any
I mean, Dean, do whatever you want, but don't yell at us if it doesn't come out well.
Yeah. Once you put a finish on the leather, it's not going to take the moisture like it needs to.
Yeah. Let's see here.
All of your tooling and everything needs to be done completely before you start doing anything like this.
Yeah. Crystal, he's just going to antique it. He's not going to do, well, he'll paint the flower centers, or he'll dye the flower centers, right? And some of that will run into some of the paint that he's done. Yeah. But it's not going to run as much as like what we did for our advanced, because this is paint and the other stuff was dye. Yeah. So,
but on these, I am going to try and fade a little bit of pink or rose paint around there. Okay. And I'm going to, these little seed centers, I'm going to paint a pale green. Like I saw that on something the other day, and I see I'm copying again. But I thought that was really cool. So. But I'll paint these flower centers turquoise. Don't you think that'll look good with this orange?
I do. Do dogwoods bark? Oh, for those of you that didn't see it, this was actually, I thought that this was a pretty cool project. So this is something that Denny tooled the other day using drum-dyed Herman Oak bridle leather. Or maybe it's just skirting, drum-dyed Herman Oak skirting.
Yeah, skirting, yeah.
So it was unfinished, so it did accept water. And we didn't antique it, we just left it. And so you can see the cut lines, you know, because it's not struck all the way through. It's just drum-dyed on the front and the back. And, but I thought that was a really cool contrast. So just tooled, no dye, no antique, no nothing. Just a cool.
It's like a cool patina almost.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was pretty neat. I made him turn it into a trading card because he was just testing to see what the leather would do. And I was like, well, you just cut that out, didn't he?
It did turn out good. Boy, that leather just cuts like butter. I love tooling it.
Well, it's still just Herman Oak. No problem, Dean.
Did Denny tool the honeycomb, or was it a hex stamp that he used?
It's a stamp. It's is it a Barry King stamp?
Yes, it's a Barry King.
It's a Barry King elongated hexagon.
In the small size. He has 3 different sizes of it.
Irish butter? Sure. I don't know what that is. Chevy, I don't know if we have any. Denny, what are you doing with the rest of that green?
I have about half a single shoulder left.
Oh. Yeah, we don't.
I'm sure it's for sale.
I might be able to call up Todd and see if he's got just a couple pieces that I could buy to sell on live shopping. It's probably not going to be super cheap though, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, Steve, I like the Herman Oak black and brown drum dyed, especially the smooth versions of the Herman Oak collar leather. That's the black and brown. That it cuts well, it tools well. I mean, it is black and brown, so you have limited color options when you're done. But if you're just wanting to do a basket weave and you were going to dye it black anyways, stinking get pre-dyed leather. It's going to be struck all the way through, and it's going to be consistent, and it's still Herman Oak, and it's still going to tool well. So, and then you don't have to worry about your dye bleeding off on anything. You're going to put a finish on it. It's going to be great. And man, it's so nice to wear. I love that smooth drum dyed in the black and the brown. I love it.
Yeah, it's nice leather.
Yeah. Well, you know, Dean, I don't know if Denny and I are familiar with Irish butter, so I don't know if the reference that we could be making would be like cutting Irish butter or not. I can't confirm or deny. Who is the guest that is coming in to
Irish
teach?
butter. Woo.
Ed LaBar, the polar bear, is what he calls himself. Or just Ed the bear. Maybe it's just the bear.
The bear man.
It's just the bear man. Sorry. I don't know why I wanted to call him a polar bear. Because it's kind of wintry outside. Yep, Ed LaBar.
Okay, what color am I painting the other? Yellow? Pink?
Pink. Or do you want it? Well, I guess you...
I'm dyeing it.
Yes. Yeah.
The rose?
Yeah.
Said rose,
Yeah. They said your butterfly is beautiful. Are his classes? Nope.
Wait, you just wait till it gets antiqued.
Just you wait, Henry Higgins. I think I sang that song on Wednesday too, and I'm not sure why, but I did. Pink. Nope. We just sent out the stuff, so I think we've got maybe 3 or 4 people that have contacted us already about the classes. So if you are interested, we can send you the form if you want to send an email to live@Springfield Leather. I've got the form that I can send you that you can fill out if you are interested in attending one of Ed's classes. I'm super excited. This is the first time that he will be here. I feel like it's the first time that he's probably been in our area. So for those of you that are even semi-local within a couple hours, this is probably one of the first chances that you've had to take a class, unless you've been willing to travel to one of the leather shows or to where he's had a class.
I'm pretty sure he visited here once, because that's when after he was here is when he sent that mall
Oh,
that I have. I didn't meet him. I must not have been here when he was around. But
oh, I do remember him. Well, because I think there was no, that wasn't him. Just kidding. That was somebody else. Who makes the tools that the leather people call black crack? Who's that?
Robert Beard.
Robert Beard.
It's an interesting thing.
Well, he anodizes them so the tool is black, and then he engraves his name in gold on the side.
Oh, okay.
And they're expensive. They're expensive tools. So for the leather crafters, they're even more expensive than a Barry King. I think most of his tools start at $100 a pop. And so they're called the black crack of leather crafting.
They start out at $100 a pop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's about what they are.
So it's not like that ridiculously expensive knife you were talking about the other day.
No. How would you keep that beautiful butterfly the exact color it is after the antique?
It's going to change the color a bit when you antique it. If you want it to stay the same color, don't do anything to it.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of avoid putting the antique there, but you still want to get antique around around the edges to fill in, because you don't this line right here, isn't ideal. So you still kind of would want to work some in around the side, but maybe you just wipe it off a little bit extra. Really buff it out of the, take your shearling and really buff it out from here. Number one, making sure you have a really good resist, a really good coat of resist that is dry, so that you do have the opportunity to take the antique off of the sections that you don't want it to be. Yes, Luna. What is your deal?
This is going to be quite colorful.
It's going to be beautiful. Yes. It's a perfect springtime project.
We really just had one little touch of real winter this year.
We what?
Just had one little touch of real winter.
Yeah.
And that was early.
Come here. Do it. Come on. She laid down. So would you put a tan coat or something? No, tan coat is not a good resist. You want like something. You want something that's acrylic.
Yeah, something that seals very, very well.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Here we go. Yeah, I promise she's all right. Crack is cheap. Should be black cocaine. Sorry. Find it. Thanks for the education there, sir. This is Light Rose from Angelus. This is the Light Rose Angelus leather dye. This bottle almost looks like this color is a very strange. Like it's translucent.
Yeah.
Anyways, Light Rose leather dye. That's
But
very
on the leather, it looks completely different than that.
yeah. It's almost like a bottle of like neon light. Yeah, it was raining this morning, so she might need to go outside, but she'll be fine for another couple of minutes while Denny finishes his flowers.
Yeah, once I get this flower done, I think we're done for today. Don't you?
Yeah. I think that would be all right. I got live shopping orders to fill all my lonesome because Tony's on the road. He's going to go call some shots.
Awesome. After all this dries, I'm going to go back and do these flower centers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also going to do all the flower stems. I'll do those in a light green.
Are Angelus alcohol or water based?
They're alcohol based.
Okay.
How cute. Alrighty, we've got our 6 little flowers and 6 little bees. And our butterfly.
Yeah. A butterfly. Yeah.
So that's where we're going to leave off. Now we'll see if Denny, we'll probably have Denny come in and maybe do a little bit on Wednesday of next week, depending on where he's getting. But this is probably going to be about the end of our kind of going over that. But we'll show it off when it's all done.
I think I'll have my paint and dye work done, and then I'll come in and antique it.
Oh, that sounds good. You guys can see the finished product.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was the majority of that. He's going to do his flower centers, and then you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I am going to make it so we can hang it, though.
That's right.
I'm not really going to frame it, but
No.
I am going to make it so we can hang it.
Okay. Alrighty.
What was your epiphany?
Oh, well, I was going to say, well, we could do that on screen, but we don't have to because we did that with that one. So, that'll be fine. Yep, Jim, if you go to the description on the video from Wednesday, if you just go back one video from the video that we did on Wednesday, we have the tooling pattern. It doesn't have like, instructions on where to go. You can kind of watch Denny tool the bees, and then he tooled a flower while we were in here on Wednesday, so you can go just kind of watch him do a little bit of that. But the pattern for what he's got here is scanned into that video from Wednesday. Alrighty, guys. Well, that is our video. It's been a lovely afternoon.
Wonderful.
That's right, as always. So we will see you guys next week, and I hope everybody has a safe and lovely weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Tom, sorry, we're back. You said where do we send trading cards to? If you have trading cards to send in, you just send them to our physical address and put them attention Tony and Liz or one of us. So 1463 South Glenstone Avenue, Springfield, Missouri 65804. Or it's on our website if you didn't write all that down just then. So attention Tony or Liz, or attention live shopping, or attention trading cards. The office will see it, they'll bring it to us, and then we will send you. If you would like a specific, if you would rather have a Denny or a Kevin, send us a little note. Please make sure that you sign the back of your card with your name, because we have some that we don't know who they belong to anymore because we forgot to write the name on them, and now we don't know who their little initials are. But anyways, write your name on the back of your trading card. We'll put it up in this cool little thing, and we will send you one of theirs. So, oh, Latigo, I don't know about a partay time. I suppose I could just fill orders while you guys watch if you want. But I need to fill orders. So, that's what I'm going to do.